Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Jeff Dimargino. John, you always break my heart a little when you say there won't be another Solo movie. I loved the first one, and one of the big highlights for me was Donald Glover as Lando. He found a way to capture Billy Dee Williams perfectly while also making it totally his own. Did you see that at Star Wars Celebration, Kathleen Kennedy said that they are still working on getting a Lando series put together? If they can, do you think that might mean there's still room for still some life in a second Solo movie too?
All right, thanks for saying that in, Jeff. The Solo movie. You know, the Solo movie, at some point somewhere in the future, a version of The Offer is going to have to be made about the development of Solo. Like between even the decision-making process to do it, Lord Miller directing it, Kathy Kennedy and Lucasfilm realizing you're not making the movie we agreed to make, firing them off it, Ron Howard sweeping in, redoing like 80% of the movie, it coming out, becoming the first bona fide Star Wars movie that flopped at the box office, despite the fact that it's quite good.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's a fun space adventure movie.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, it's not like Rogue One good, but it was pretty enjoyable. But I think most people, the lovers and detractors of Solo, most would agree that Donald Glover was actually a pretty good Lando.
Yeah.
Which really shouldn't be surprising to most people, right? But the moment he came onto the scene, number one, he was a great supporting character. He never once kind of upstaged Alden Ehrenreich, who, by the way, I thought Alden Ehrenreich did a pretty good job in an absolutely unwinnable scenario. No one is going to take you over Harrison Ford. I mean, I'm sorry. But I thought he stepped in and did a pretty damn admirable job doing that. And Donald Glover was pretty sharp in it too. Now, here's where the plot thickens. A week or two ago, probably just last week, we talked on the show about the fact that Kathy Kennedy was being interviewed, and she basically said, yeah, we're never going to do recasting classic characters with younger actors anymore. That didn't work for us. It's clearly a no-go. Our Solo movie flopped. Yeah, not going to do that anymore. Okay, but what about the one you've already done? What about classic characters you've already recast? What about that Lando series you said at the Disney Investors Day meeting a couple of years ago? Does that mean that's done? Well, apparently, maybe not. This comes to us from the folks over at CBR who wrote the following. In an interview with Games Radar at Star Wars Celebration, Kennedy was asked about earlier statements she made about not recasting major Star Wars characters in future projects. I never say never, she said. It's certainly not something that we're doing with any intention right now. We're still talking about Lando with Donald Glover, for instance, but I don't think that we would intentionally just look back at some of the characters like Luke and Leia and whatnot and decide arbitrarily to do a story. There would have to be a really strong reason why. Okay, so when saying that we're not going to recast these young characters anymore, and the question about, well, what about ones that have already been recast?
Like in Kenobi, Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll give them space on that. That's totally different because it's literally the child.
I know,
it's not supposed to be a new version of Princess Leia. It's as a child. Even if Carrie Fisher were with us today, they would still have to do that if they were telling us. So I'm okay with that. I'll give them a pass with the child recasting. But the fact that they're saying we are still actively doing Lando, and I'll tell you what, sign me up for it. I listen again. I thought the swag and the charm and the smoothness that is all things Billy Dee Williams. I thought Donald Glover was able to capture that on the one hand, and like Jeff said in the message, bring something of his own to it as well. He didn't just try to do a Billy Dee Williams impersonation. He honored Billy Dee, brought the spirit of the character that Billy Dee did it, and then he added a little bit of his own. And I'll tell you what, a Star Wars movie, just looking at the perspective from a rogue like Lando Calrissian, sign me up. So listen, she's not saying this is definitely still happening, but I personally like the idea that this is a go. Donald Glover is one of the biggest stars in the world. He's one of the most charismatic guys to watch on screen. So I'm all for this myself. Anyway, Chris, you hear Kathy Kennedy say, we're still working on this Donald Glover Lando series. Good idea. Bad idea considering how Solo flopped. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I'm just glad that Kathleen Kennedy is watching this show because we've talked about this,
Yes, we have.
how much we would like Lando. I want new Star Wars stuff, right? I want fresh characters in this universe, and this is the exception. Because, I mean, even just that image of Donald Glover playing Lando. He is such a slick scoundrel. He is so charismatic. He is so delightful in this role. And you can tell he's having a blast in that film, which is one of the reasons why I like it so much. Everyone in there is having fun. It's so nice to see actors having a good time in their roles. Look at him.
Tell me that is not the spirit of Billy Dee Williams
it's
right
perfect.
there.
Oh my gosh. I love it so much. I think even if you didn't like the movie, like you were saying, this is the one thing everyone agreed on was that Donald Glover killed it in this role. So I think having a series devoted to him as this character works great. And then they can focus on the other IP. I do really like that she's saying we're not going to do willy-nilly things about the other characters. It makes me feel more comfortable about another topic we're going to come to, because I don't think Star Wars should just be doing cash grabs with their characters. Story has to come first. And if a story makes sense and you have the right people telling that story, then I'm interested.
We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Stamps.com. Now, guys, as a small business owner myself, I am always looking for ways to save costs, yes, but I know that our most valuable resource is time, and I'm always looking for things that can save us time. Stamps.com saves you both. Because when you're running a small business, every second counts. You can't afford to waste a single moment. So why are you still taking time out of your day to go to the post office when you could be using Stamps.com instead? Stamps.com makes mailing and shipping quick, easy, and cost-effective. How cost-effective? Well, you can get discounts that you can't find anywhere else, like up to 30% off USPS rates and 86% off UPS. And there's no special hardware technology you need. All you need is your regular computer and printer, no special supplies or equipment required. So guys, stop wasting time and start saving money when you use Stamps.com to mail and ship. Sign up with the promo code CAMPEA for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts needed. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and enter the code CAMPEA. Rob, you're hearing about the story. You are one of the people who quite appreciated the Solo movie and all that kind of stuff, despite the fact that it flopped pretty hard. First money-losing movie in the history of Star Wars. But Donald Glover seems to be pretty accepted amongst a lot of people. What do you think about this?
Dude, first of all, I love Donald Glover. I mean, I still want Ridley Scott's The Martian had the NASA support
I love
team.
His character in
and
that.
Donald Glover was one of the, and I'm like, they should do a whole series about the support staff from
good.
Ridley Scott's The Martian, and Donald Glover would be headlining that show.
There's a great moment near the end of The Martian where Donald Glover, like it's kind of like the post of it. Donald Glover comes in and Benedict Wong is there, and like that's a really great little moment.
It's awesome when he's explaining with the pen like how they're gonna.
Oh, that was
I love
great.
Donald Glover. So, and another thing, you know, I don't know if this is gonna date me, but after Splinter the Mind's Eye, the novel came
Right.
out, there were 3 Han solo novels and 3 Lando Calrissian solo novels, like Lando Calrissian and the Mind Harp of Sharu, or Lando Calrissian.
It sounds like a Star Trek novel.
I know, Lando Calrissian and the Flame Winds of Ocean.
Oh man,
And yes,
that sounds so dope.
They were dope, man. And I had them, and I'm like, I remember, and the Brian Daley Han Solo it stars in, but I remember reading the Lando Calrissian books because we really didn't know much. I mean, Lando doesn't have a whole lot of screen time. We knew that he at one point owned the Millennium Falcon. He somehow became respectable and was running the Tabana gas mines on Bespin or whatever, but you didn't know much about him. But those books were good. Like, I remember reading those books going, I like this Lando Calrissian. I would like to see more. So to do, and Glover's performance in Solo was so much fun. So
Yeah.
why not? I mean, look, come on. Look at that guy. I mean, look at him. Who wouldn't want? And if you do like the rogue scoundrel, this could, especially seeing him on Atlanta. You know, I mean, I would this picture alone. All you have to do is blow this picture up like the size of the monitor right now. Walk into the Disney Plus execs. I mean, you don't. I guess you just have. Kathleen Kennedy already knows. Just show her that picture and go, remember, we want to make that show. That picture encompasses exactly everything we want to see from the show. You know, and he's got his, what is he playing, Sabak or whatever?
Yeah.
And he's going to lay down those cards, probably whatever a flush is, what you'd know better than I would. The river turns and whatever he's got in his hand, he's about to win, you could see. Who wouldn't want to see that, dude? Come on.
I'd be totally down. And now, the last part of his question saying, with this still being in development, does that keep the door ever so slightly cracked open for the possibility of a Solo 2? I do not have that information, so I can only tell you kind of what I think. Nope.
Yeah.
No, they're not going to go back to in a universe of Star Wars stuff that you have and a universe of Star Wars stuff that you could do. Why, instead of another project, would you go back to something that flopped? Again, I liked it. I had a lot of fun with that movie. I really did. But if I'm in the boardroom there, no, we're not greenlighting that. I don't see why you would. But I mean, that doesn't mean you couldn't have an Alden Ehrenreich pop up in the Lando series or something like that.
Yeah, I think the only way it could, in the home video era, there were movies that did okay at the box office, but on video they became huge hits. Mm-hmm. Things like the original Terminator. So and the numbers that they did on home video told the bean counters that yes, this could be viable. If Solo somehow, I don't know if it does, had big numbers on Disney Plus, I don't know if it'd be a theatrical feature, but they might do something for Disney Plus. I mean, I could see that, like you pointed out, they could have them show up in a Lando series or do, the limited series idea using the volume stages where it keeps the price down. If they had a good story, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I thought Alden Ehrenreich did a good job.
Yeah.
I thought he did too, but hey, it is what it is. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Would you be interested in a Lando limited series starring Donald Glover? I mean, I really would. Did you enjoy the Solo movie? Were you like the many people who didn't even see it? What do you guys think about this? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.